So you
fine.
record and then make me host.
Okay. I didn't know I was the host. Aviva said she'd make you anyway. I do this, make host. Here you go.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right. Have fun with it.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I invited my mother to join also, so I don't know if she joined. But if you see someone you don't recognize, that's probably my mother. She likes English, and I hope I won't embarrass her when I speak my bad English. Hello, Tanya. Hello, everybody. Very nice to see everybody. I missed you very much. Very nice to rejoin. So, okay. So, would you like to tell me a bit about how the Tochnit is going this year? What classes do you have? Hillary, Tanya, what did I make everybody quiet?
Yeah, we're all muted. I'm unmuted myself. We have usually there was an art class that tried to start, didn't work very well, but some people liked it. It wasn't art, it was arts and crafts. And I gave up about 2 weeks. Anyway, then there was Aviva who started off doing the Rambam, and then it sort of went to Parashat HaShavua with a touch of Rambam. Followed by, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, okay? And then, am I recording this yet? Not yet. No, yeah, I am.
Yes, you are, you are. It's recording.
I am. Okay. Followed by Rav Stavsky, who talked about Tehillim this year, still talking about Tehillim this year, lots to say. And then Rabbi Reuven, who talks halacha, and we love it. It was great. And after that, there was a class from Daphna. What's Daphna? I don't know Daphna's second name. Somebody probably knows, who was talking about Sefer Shmot. But I didn't go to that. I didn't stay for that. It was too much. But Eliyahu stayed. He's here too. Somewhere.
That sounds very nice.
You see him?
It sounds like a very full program.
Okay. Yes, and it's excellent, and we love it. And we love each other. We've really become a group despite Zoom. We're definitely... No, it's much easier without Zoom. But
I understood that the group grew very much.
Yeah, there's like 25 of us usually. I don't know how many we are now, but 14 only. Everyone gets up late, I guess. But yeah. Anyone else want to say stuff?
Nice. Well, I miss you very much.
I also wanted to say we did a creative writing workshop this year when Aviva was out on maternity leave. And that was quite phenomenal because it's something I haven't done since high school, and a lot of interesting things came out from it. And that was based on Parsha as well.
Yeah, it was while Aviva was on Chufshat Leida, and it was very, I also have no idea how I did it, but I really enjoyed it, and it was good.
Very nice. Very nice. So it sounds like every year is a bit different. So something I received since we met, for my birthday, my husband bought me a new Rashal Hirsch. And it's a shame I don't have to photocopy it anymore for you, because it's much better, much easier writing. Everything is very clear, and I enjoy very much learning Rashal Hirsch. And it's funny because I feel that I already studied Rashal Hirsch for a whole year. So I mean, there's probably nothing to surprise me, but every time I open it, there's something new that gives me a new angle on things, and it's beautiful. So thank you very much for introducing me with Rashal Hirsch. Tov, okay, so let's, maybe we should start. This parasha is Parashat Balak. And before we go into the parasha, I wanted to go back a few parashot, to Parashat Bemidbar, to the beginning of the Chumash. If by the way, if anybody could bring, I mean, if you could please sit with Tanakh or a Chumash Bemidbar, I think it would be easier to follow. I know you don't have Rashal Hirsch, so I'll try to read it fast and summarize it in English. But at least the Chumash, I think a Chumash would be very helpful. Chumash Bemidbar. And you know what, actually, I need to go get a Tanakh. Just a second. Okay, so before we start with Chumash Bamidbar, I just wanted to go back a bit to Yetziat Mitzrayim. I think this is a topic that we already spoke about last year, but I'd like to remind us all something that we spoke about, but it gets a different emphasis when we speak about it in connection to Parashat Balak. At the end of the Chumash Shmot, just a minute, let me find the pasuk. It says, well, I can't find it, so I don't want to keep you waiting. So the pasuk says that after they left Egypt, it says, "Lo nacham Hashem derech eretz plishtim ki karov hu." So Hashem says, the easiest way, the karov way, the fastest way from Egypt to Eretz Canaan is through Eretz Plishtim. And I just want to show you, just a minute here. I'll do a screen sharing, and maybe you'll remember that we spoke a lot about the maps in, just a minute, how do I close this? Here we have a map. For all the new participants, I just want to explain where we are. This is a site, an internet site that belongs to Michlelet Herzog, and they take the mapa of Google Maps and put on it all the layers that have to do with Tanakh. And it, of course, on the left has an option of English, which I'll just show you now, but we're not going to use it because my English isn't that good. Thank God my mother's not here yet to hear that. Just a minute, it's thinking. Just a minute. So they have everything in English, and I just want to show it to you so you could look at it at your whenever you have time. The address is hatanach.com en map. So you could much go into it whenever you want. It's a very amazing way of learning Tanakh. I feel that learning Tanakh is, you have to learn it. And while you understand geography, history, archaeology, I mean, archaeology isn't a must because archaeology is something that changes a lot. And it sometimes proves things that didn't happen or doesn't prove things that we know happened. So it doesn't have to be archaeology. But geography and history, if you don't understand it, it's very difficult to understand the Tanakh. So here we have Eretz Canaan, Israel. And over here we have Egypt. Egypt is right here. Goshen, Techapnes, Tsoan, all the Egyptian cities. Here we have the delta, the big delta, and here we have the Nile. So the easiest way from Egypt all the way to Eretz Canaan is Derech Eretz Plishtim. This area is the area where the Plishtim lived in those times. The Plishtim is a nation that came from the sea. They came with ships and lived right here, places that we know today as Aza, Ashdod, Ashkelon. So all this area is full of population. Just a minute. Can everybody make themselves silent? Thank you. So this way is the easiest way, and Ibn Ezra, I'll read the Ibn Ezra in Hebrew and I'll translate it. Ibn Ezra says, Vayhi b'shalach, that's parasha, oh here, I have it here, very funny, what I was looking for in the Tanakh. Vayhi b'shalach, parashat b'shalach in Chumash Shmot, וידוע כי ממצרים עד ירושלים דרך פלישתים אינו מרחק רב. Ibn Ezra says the distance between Mitzrayim to Jerusalem through Eretz Plishtim, through this way, is not very far. It's not a long walk. והוא כמו מהלך 10 ימים בדרך הישרה. Would you believe it? It could have taken us 10 days to get from Mitzrayim to Jerusalem, just 10 days. And the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided not to take Am Yisrael in this route was because Ki karov hu. So the next pasuk says, Ki bir'otam milchama v'shavu Mitzrayima. The reason, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, doesn't have only one reason for things he does. The reason over here was also a psychological reason. He says, if Am Yisrael comes through Eretz Plishtim, then they'll straight away turn around and run back to Egypt, even though Egypt was a terrible place for them. All their boys were murdered, and the girls were taken by the Egyptians as slaves, or all kinds of other terrible things that they did with them. Even though all these reasons, they would have gone back to Egypt. And we can also see it in all the tlunot, in all the, how do you say tlunot in English? All the
Complaints.
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 Yeah.
Please, everybody,
such a positive
mute
person.
yourselves after this. Judith and
I'm such a positive person. I don't know that word, complaints. My
Oh.
kids are never complaining, so that's why I don't know that word. During all the complaints in Chumash Bemidbar, and we spoke about it in length last year, that we have many, many, many complaints in Chumash Bemidbar. During all the complaints, the exit of Am Yisrael from the terrible place they're in is, okay, nitna rosh v'nashuva mitzrayima, we'll go back to Egypt. This is, it's such a terrible time right now. Maybe we'll go back to Egypt because we can't stay where we are right now. So that's the first way. The first way is 10 days through here. And then in the first pasuk in Chumash Bemidbar, it says like this.
Looks like you need help.
Here, I also have Bemidbar over here, just so it's easier. Chumash Bemidbar Perek Aleph. Wait. Yeah. Chumash Bemidbar. וידבר אדוני אל משה במדבר סיני באוהל מועד, באחד לחודש השני בשנה השנית, לצאתם מארץ מצרים לאמור, שאו את ראש כל הדת בני ישראל למשפחותם, לבית אבותם, במספר שמות. And notice in pasuk Gimel, who exactly are the people that have to be counted? מבין 20 שנה ומעלה, כל יוצא צבא בישראל. The people that have to be counted are all the people that are able to fight, to be warriors in the army, to be soldiers. Why? Rashi says, what is the reason over here? The reason over here is they're actually preparing to go into Eretz Yisrael. And now we see another option. All of Chumash Bemidbar could have ended in the entrance to Eretz Yisrael. This is Hashana Shenit Letzetam Mitzrayim, 2 years of walking around the Midbar, and now after 2 years, now they're ready psychologically to go into Mitzrayim. And then we have Chet HaMeraglim. Chet HaMeraglim was an option that Am Yisrael had to go into Eretz Yisrael after 2 years and to prepare. Of course, Rashal Hirsch, I don't remember if we spoke about it last year or not, but Rashal Hirsch says that the Meraglim, they had to be sent. They had to be sent before they conquered Eretz Yisrael, because they had to know how to exactly come into Eretz Yisrael. If they wouldn't have had some kind of preparation with Meraglim or some kind of human preparation for the Knisa le'Eretz Yisrael, it would have, it was bad, because they needed to go from Hanhaga Nisit, from a way of living that everything is a miracle around you. The food falls down from the sky at the entrance to your house. Your clothes get ironed with ananei kavod. You don't have to fight because any arrow that gets shot into Am Yisrael is taken by ananei kavod. That's the special Hanhaga in Egypt, in the desert. And now, says Rashal Hirsch, now Am Yisrael has to change a way of Hanhaga. Now Am Yisrael has to start understanding how to fight as atzmaim, as people that have control over their own destiny. And the right way to conquer a country, to conquer Canaan, is to send meraglim, to send people to check exactly what way is the best way to conquer Eretz Israel. So they sent the meraglim, and then we have the big chet that gave Am Yisrael the third option, which is the longest option of going from Eretz Mitzrayim into Canaan. 40 years walking all around the desert, and we have the beginning of Chumash B'Midbar, the Dvarim that we will read in a few weeks. Chumash Dvarim starts with all the journeys, and we have a lot of journeys over there. It wasn't meant to be so long. It was meant to take 2 years with the Kadosh Baruch Hu's plan. And because of Chet HaMeraglim, it took 40 years. 40 years instead of 2 years. So now I want to get to our Chumash, to our Parashat Balak. But before we get to Parashat Balak, I want to stop in Parashat Chukat. So everybody please go to Parashat Chukat, Perek Kaf Aleph. I felt that that's very relevant to our days, something that we read last Parasha, last Shabbat. Wait, let me just a minute here. Perek Kaf Aleph. Perek Kaf Aleph is still in the middle of Chumash, of Parashat Chukat. And we hear, of course, the beginning of Perek Kaf Aleph. Am Yisrael fights against the Knaanim. By the way, I want to tell you something amazing that I heard yesterday. I still didn't check it, but I heard it, and I'd like to give it, to pass it on. וישמע כנעני מלך ערד, יושב הנגב, קיווה ישראל דרך האתרים. וילחם בישראל וישב ממנו שבי. So the person who teaches Shelach, who teaches מדעי ארץ Israel, or history, geography, archaeology, in the school I teach, that I'm principal of in Beit Shemesh, he says that this area that they went through, what's ha'atarim? He says that atarim, Rashal Hirsch, by the way, also says that atarim is like tarim. You can take off the letter aleph, and then it's hatarim. What's tarim? Tarim is latur. That was exactly the mission of the meraglim. The meraglim were asked to latur et haaretz. So the way that Am Yisrael came into the area where the Melech Arad is where he lives, is through the way that the tarim, the meraglim, came in. And that was something very interesting, that the meraglim, actually, their mission was good. The meraglim told Am Yisrael where to go through, what to do, and in the end, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu let Am Yisrael win here. וישמע השם בכל ישראל, ויתן את הכנעני, ויחרם אתם ואת עריהם, ויקרא שם המקום חורמה. Am Yisrael did conquer. So the mission of the meraglim was successful. They did give Am Yisrael help in conquering Eretz Israel. So that's just something that I heard yesterday, and it was very interesting for me to hear. So I wanted to give it to you as a present. But now what I wanted to show you was this Psukim Daled until Kaf. ויסעו מהור ההר דרך ים סוף, לסבוב את ארץ אדום, ותקצר נפש העם בדרך. Am Yisrael is walking very, we know that the way, here, let's just go back to the map. Derech Eretz Edom, this is Edom. They have to go all around Edom because Edom won't let Am Yisrael go in to Eretz Edom. Later on, they won't be allowed into Moab, and they have to fight against the Sichon. They have a lot of wars, and Am Yisrael is over here, has to walk around Edom. And just a minute, where are we? Here. ותקצר נפש העם בדרך. Am Israel is already in a very sad situation. If we spoke about the psychological reason that we had in the beginning of Chumash Shmot, so now we have that psychological reason again. Just a minute. Wait, let me try. Who's unmuted? Just a minute. I'll mute people. And then if you want to unmute yourself, you can definitely unmute yourself. I'm just muting everybody, sorry, just so it's easier. Michelle, can you hear us? Maisel, sorry. Oh, hello. Maisel. Just a minute, I'm trying to mute you. Just a minute, let's see if we have to unmute. So, okay, so where was I? So, Am Israel. Where was I? What was I saying before I unmuted everybody?
That they have to go through Edom, Ammon, and Moab.
Yes, exactly. Around, not through.
Around.
Through. If it was through, it was much easier. But they had to go around. ואז ותקצר נפש העם בדרך. It made Am Yisrael, they became very, very frustrated, and it was very difficult. If we spoke about the psychological reason not to go through Eretz Plishtim, over here, Am Yisrael already got to a stage where they're about to break. וידבר העם באלוהים ובמשה, למה העליתנו ממצרים למות במדבר? כי אין לחם ואין מים ונפשנו קצה בלחם הקלוקל. The Parshanim speak a lot about what's the lechem haklokel. The man is the most amazing food that exists. I mean, it interests me if scientists could find out what exactly the man was, because it was something amazing. You didn't have to go to the toilet. Every single thing that you wanted to taste existed in the man. So it sounds like a very terrible complaint that Am Yisrael had over here. They think that they're taken to the desert just to die over here. They don't have any bread, any water. And any water, that's, of course, the Parshanim say that's because of Be'er Miriam. Be'er Miriam already was canceled in this stage because that Miriam died. So they were really, they really had a lot of problems over here. Am Yisrael felt that they couldn't continue walking without food, without water, and they didn't see Yad Hashem with the man and with all the nisim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. And then I spoke with my students yesterday when we gave them the report cards. I said this Dvar Torah. I said, can you imagine a situation that we're all living in tents, no walls, no shelter, no real shelter, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends snakes, very, very poisonous snakes. Srafim is a name for a very poisonous snake. There's a snake today called Saraf En Gedi. It's one of the most poisonous snakes in Eretz Yisrael. Saraf is a name for a very poisonous snake. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the Nechashim HaSarafim v'yineshchu et ha'am, v'yamot am rav miYisrael. Okay, the situation is that Am Yisrael is dying in very big numbers. And the snakes are still walking around and are making the situation very, very dangerous for Am Yisrael. And what is the solution? We'd expect Moshe Rabbeinu to open a special field hospital, or to get the Kohanim to, I don't know, give all kinds of antidotes against the eris that the snakes spread. But the solution that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives, and then Moshe prays to Hashem, Be'ad ha'am. This is, by the way, a cycle that we see many times in Chumash Bamidbar. A cycle that starts with tlunot, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a punishment, then Moshe Rabbeinu or the Am says sorry, prays to Hashem, and then there's a solution. So, of course, we have the complaint over here, ותקצר נפש העם בדרך, וידבר העם באלוהים ובמשה, and then we have the punishment, the Nechashim HaSarafim, And then we have the praying. Hashem, Ha'amel comes to Moshe and says, Chatanu, ki dibarnu b'Hashem v'bach, hitpalel el Hashem, please, ve'yaser me'aleinu et hanachash, which is kind of, I mean, hitpalel el Hashem, they don't want only hitpalel el Hashem v'yislach lanu. They're going really to the problem. They have a very serious problem. They really want the nachashim to vanish. They also want Hashem to forgive them, but that's, I think, second in their priority list. And then Moshe prays be'ad ha'am. And then what's the solution? V'yomer Hashem el Moshe, aseh lecha saraf, v'sim oto al nes. Put it on a very big pole, put it up high, and then every person that gets stung, or I don't know what it's called, gets bitten by the snake, if he looks up at the snake on the big nes, on the big bar, on the big pole, and if he looks at it, then he v'chai. Of course, we have a Mishnah that says, a Mishnah in Masechet, I think Brachot, that says that just looking at the snake up in the sky didn't help. The only solution was that when they looked up at the saraf, they remembered Hashem that's above them, and then they started praying to Hashem. And the praying to Hashem, that's what solved the problem. And then, Vayas Moshe nachash nechoshet vaysimeu al hanes, vayim nachash nashach hanachash et ish, vebitel nachash hanachoshet v'chai. Of course, all the Parshanim say it wasn't enough to just look at the nachash. They also needed to pray. So when I spoke to my students yesterday, I told them that right before they go to the chufsha, the long 2 months vacation that they have, besides being very careful and making sure they do all the hanchayot of Misrad HaBriut, which is masks, keeping 2 meters from one to another. The third one was keeping your hands clean all the time. I told them that the fourth thing that's very important, and we learn from this parasha, is not to stop praying. We know that praying helps very much, and over here we have the Nachash Nechoshet that helped Am Yisrael pray to Hashem. By the way, I just want to say something about the Nachash Nechoshet. At the end of Chumash Melachim with Chizkiyahu, we suddenly hear that Nachash Nechoshet exists. And Chizkiyahu, who was a very, very good king at the end of Malchut Beit Yehuda, we hear that he takes this Nachash Nechoshet and cuts it to pieces and ruins it. And the question is, what exactly did the Nachash do so many years, and why does Chizkiyahu have to ruin it? So the Parshanim over there explain, or I don't remember if it's in the Psukim themselves or the Parshanim say, that Am Yisrael took the Nachash Nechoshet and they started using it as Avodah Zarah. They started praying to this Nachash Nechoshet, which is, by the way, the symbol of Misrad HaBriut. The symbol of Misrad HaBriut has a snake on a pole. That's exactly the snake. And we have to remember that the snake itself doesn't do anything. The snake itself is just a sign that that with the snake we remember to pray to Hashem. So that's what I wanted to add from the last parasha. Now we'll go to Parashat Balak. Parashat Balak is Perek Kaf Bet, and I don't know if we spoke about it last year, but there are 2 different ways to divide up the Tanakh. There's a Jewish way and a Christian way. The Christian way is to divide the Tanakh into prakim. I don't know, to chapters. There are different chapters, and that's the way that the Christians divided up the Tanakh. The Jewish way to divide up the Tanakh is to parashot. And we can see many times that the way that the Christians divided the Tanakh and the way that the Jews divided the Tanakh, of course, we believe that the Jews are the right way, but we can see that the different ways of dividing up the Tanakh, it shows us a different way of looking at all kinds of things. For example, if you go to Chumash Bereshit, we can see that I don't remember exactly how the Christians divided it, but I think that the Christians divided Chet Adam HaRishon and put it in a different parasha, or put there's something over there that makes the situation look very Christian with the way that the Christians divided the prakim, and the parashot is I mean it's such a Jewish way of thinking. And right over here we can also see it. Pasuk Aleph, ויסעו בני ישראל ויחנו בערבות מואב מעבר לירדן יריחו. This pasuk, if you look at the Christian way of dividing the Tanakh, belongs to Perek Kaf Bet. It's the first pasuk in Perek Kaf Bet. But if you look at your chumashim that you have with you, I hope. A minute, I'll open chumash here, Parashat Balak. The parasha begins with pasuk Bet. Now, if you look at the Christian way of dividing, then you think that Vayis'u bnei Yisrael v'yachnu be'arvot Moab, it's something that belongs to the next chapter. Why? Because it's a hakdama to where Balak ben Tzipor, where all the story with Balak, with Midian, with Moab, all the sins, the way that they tried to get Bilam to do the klalot. If you look at the Christian way of thinking, then this pasuk Aleph belongs to this noseh, to this topic. But in the Jewish way of dividing, this pasuk has to be joined into Perek Kaf Aleph. Perek Kaf Aleph speaks about all what Am Yisrael went through into getting to Eretz Yisrael. And if you notice, עד בלתי ישאיר לו שריד וירשו את ארצו, and then the last pasuk is ויסעו בני ישראל ויחנו בערבות מואב מעבר לירדן יריחו. This is the last stop before they enter Eretz Yisrael. All of Chumash Dvarim and all the last parashot of Chumash Bamidbar, they all happen exactly in the same place, in Arvot Moab. Which is very interesting, because you can see that the Chamisha Chumshei Torah aren't divided in a way that every perek is a different place or things are happening. No, it has a way of thinking. It's very the way that Hashem divided the parashot has a very special reason, because it explains that over here they got to Arvot Moab, and then a different story happened. So now we have the story of Balak ben Tzipor. Now we're going to start from Pasuk Bet. וירא בלק בן ציפור את כל אשר עשה ישראל לאמורי. The first thing that Rashar Hirsch says, why does it say Balak ben Tzipor? What would we expect it to say before the name Balak? You can unmute yourself and answer.
I would talk about Melech Moav.
Melech, exactly. Why doesn't it say Vayar HaMelech Balak ben Tzipor, or Vayar Balak ben Tzipor Melech Moav? Why don't we have his Hagdara? Why don't we have his Toar Malchut? We hear just a certain person called Balak ben Tzipor, and we see that he saw or understood what happened, what Am Yisrael did to the Emori. And then the next pasuk, Vayagar Moav mipnei ha'am me'od, ki rav hu, vayakatz Moav mipnei bnei Yisrael. Rashar Hirsch, I, by the way, never noticed these dakuyot, these little points. But Rashar Hirsch says there's a separation here between the king and the Am. In Am Yisrael, there's the king always goes together with the Am. Sometimes he takes them down, sometimes he takes them up. But in Am Yisrael, the leader and the king always goes with the Am. Over here, we see Balak ben Tzipor, who's separated from the Am. And not only that, look at the solution to all the the situation with Am Yisrael. Ve'omar Moav el ziknei Midian. We still see the Am Yisrael, the Am of Moab, doesn't pay any attention to Balak. They go to Ziknei Midian. Rashar Hirsch says Midian and Moab are not two nations that have peace between them. Not at all. They fight between, they're not in peace between them. And Moab still sends people to Ziknei Midian. And they say, we're really scared. We think that Am Yisrael is going to eat us up like, as if we were food for a bull to eat. And then, the end of the pasuk, Ubalak ben Tzipor melech leMoab ba'et hahi. The pasuk mamash makes sure that we understand that the king wasn't very relevant at the first pasukim. And then pasuk hey, we already hear Vaishlach Malachim. This is already something that Balak did. But Rashar Hirsch, maybe I'll read a few words from Rashar Hirsch. He says, בפסוק הקודם מתואר בלק רק כאדם פרטי ולא כמלך מואב. In this pasuk, Balak is a person in Moab. He's not considered a king. לפיכך לא ייתכן שמואב בפסוק זה הוא כינוי אחר למלך בלק. He says that over here, when we see all the doings of Moab, it's not Balak doing them as a representative of his nation. It's the people of Moab doing it. They're doing things without asking their king. Just a minute. Okay. And Rashar Hirsch continues and says, what does the word vayagar mean? He says, אחזתם אימה כה גדולה, עד שאבדה מהם כל תחושה של יציבות, כאילו שנשמטה הקרקע נגד רגליהם. They were so intimidated by Am Yisrael that they felt as if the ground was vanishing from under their feet. כפי שמנסח זאת המדרש רבה, הם כבר ראו את עצמם כגרים בארצם שלהם, כאילו הארץ אינה שייכת להם עוד, וכבר נכבשה על ידי ישראל. ויגר, Rashar Hirsch says, Vayagar means they felt like gerim. A ger is a person that has no nation. He goes from here to there. He doesn't have roots. And the people of Moab felt that now they're just like gerim. They won't have a country anymore because of what Am Yisrael is going to do. And when I spoke about this pasuk with my husband, then he said that we can see over here exactly how the thoughts sometimes make us do things that are not very clever. If Moab would have left the situation just as it is, stayed exactly where they were, let the people of Am Yisrael go around, they would have been spared. Am Yisrael wasn't meant to attack the Moabim at all. Nothing would have happened to them. But because they were so scared, they were led by their fear, because of their huge fear. That's why they had such a terrible mapala at the end. And my husband also reminded me that if we go back to Chumash Bereshit, we have over there the situation with the Nachash and the Isha. There's a pasuk that says, "Ve'eva ashit beinechem." Hashem says there's going to be hatred, or hatred is that a strong enough word for Eva? Very, very strong hatred between you and between Chava and the snake. And Rashi over there says, if the snake would know that human beings don't want to kill snakes, I mean, they don't want to eat snakes, they have nothing to kill, they have no reason to kill snakes. And if people would have known that snakes don't really eat human beings, they have no reason to eat each other, then nothing would have happened. There would have been peace between snakes and human beings, which connects to Parashat Chukat with the snakes. There's no real rational reason for people to hate snakes. There's no reason for snakes to have to come and attack human beings, because they don't eat the same food. They also don't want to eat each other. I mean, usually in the nature, animals eat, kill things that they want to eat. And over here, snakes don't want to eat people and people don't want to eat snakes. So the Eva, Ashit Beinechem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put between the snakes and the human beings, shows how that if people would think rationally about things, then the situation would have been much easier. And over here, with Moab, we can see the same exact idea that Moab didn't really, I mean, if they wouldn't have been so terrified from Am Yisrael, the situation would have been amazing. Nothing would have happened. But they went and they led their king to speak to Ziknei Midian and to send malachim, to send messengers to Bil'am ben Be'or. They made the situation much more difficult than it was. And I think that from this issue, I learn a lot. I learned that first of all, we need to have a lot of tefillot, especially at this time with all the corona and all the things happening around us. And second of all, I also learned that we have to make sure that our mind is very relaxed and very calm, and that we understand the real situation, and we don't run into things in a crazy way. And let me just show you where was here. If I go into okay, I'm going to go back to Hebrew with the map just to show you, because they don't have these two ways to understand the map. So in Chumash Bemidbar, Perek Kaf Bet. Yeah, we're in Kaf Bet. Let's go. So over here, we can see exactly where all this happened. Am Yisrael is in Arvot Moab. We hear about Yericho. We have Midian. Midian is why did they go to Midian? Rashar Hirsch also says something about Midian, because they know that Yitro comes from Midian, and they know that Moshe Rabbeinu married a woman from Midian. So they think that maybe the Midianites would find a way to conquer Am Yisrael. They really need help. So over here we have, and by the way, I want to remind all of us something that we probably all know and remember, that in the beginning, Bil'am tried to use his powers to be he had powers as a magician. So he wanted to use his powers to pray exactly at the right time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be angry. I don't know who of you read Tehillim and remember the pasuk that says, El Zo'em Bechol Yom. There's a pasuk that says, El Zo'em Bechol Yom. What does El Zo'em Bechol Yom? Rashi in this parasha in Balak says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a certain amount of time every single day that he is Zo'em. That's the situation of Hashem. He's more Midat Adin. He thinks if you did something bad, then it gets a bigger focus. So Bil'am tried to do the tefillah to Hashem exactly at that certain time, that El Zo'em Bechol Yom. And in the end, the solution to make Am Yisrael surrender and miss out on the situation was the znut, was the Bnot Midian over here. Bnot Midian ichtiu et Bnei Yisrael beshitim, over here in this area. וכפעולת נקם, בני ישראל נלחמו במדיינים. Okay, Am Yisrael really fought them, so it really didn't help, not the Midyanim and not the Moabim. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I miss you very much. And I recommend this site very much. I'll also show you something else that we can see over here. There's a way to see also the roads, if anybody wants to do a tiyul and see what things they have in that area from the Tanakh. And as we saw also last year, we also have an option of looking at it as a satellite. So we can see now what Arvot Moab looks like. Here, let's go see what Arvot Moab looks like. It's an Arab area, a Jordanian area called Arvot Moab. I don't know if it's called Arvot Moab today, but it's, here, let's see what it's, it's words in Arabic. Hussein Bridge. That's Hussein Bridge. It's I think it starts here. Gesher Allenby. Okay, so all this is exactly where Am Yisrael stood. I mean, exactly by Michlelet Herzog. I don't know if it's positive that that's exactly where it was, but it definitely could have happened here. And this is where Am Yisrael went through to Eretz Yisrael. And I suggest that if you have time, You should definitely also look at all the options here. We also have this little guy that we saw last year. Little guy that shows us exactly what the area looks like right now. I don't know why I can't see. Every time I try to show off and show people things, then it doesn't work. So I'm sure that when you get home, it will, when you start doing it by yourselves, it will work much better. So thank you very much for joining. I enjoyed not seeing everybody, but thinking of everybody.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you
Yes,
very
definitely. You
much.
can ask a question.
Yeah, today Moab and Ammon are the same?
Today we
Yeah,
don't have
because-
Moab.
You don't have,
They're extinct.
they're extinct? Oh, so Jordan's capital, which is Amman, that's not Ammon?
Has nothing to do with it. Just like the Arabs that live in Egypt have nothing to do with the Egyptians. It's a completely different religion. They're all Arabs. The whole area is, that's the big miracle about Am Yisrael. We're the only nation that stayed with the same religion, same country, same everything ever since.
So
The
Jordan,
Greeks,
so if
the
we
Romans
see,
aren't Romans.
so when we see the Hare Moab, that's Jordan?
Yeah. It's the same area geographically, but it's not the same nation.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you very much, and have a Shabbat Shalom, and שיהיה לכולנו לבריאות.
Amen.
Amen, amen.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome
much.
to come back
Good luck.
anytime you want.
Yes, the truth is that I'm thinking about it for next year. I'm not going to leave
love
being
you to be here.
principal, but I miss you very much.
We miss you too.
Yeah, we too.
Well, we do
Thank you
have
very
2
much.
weeks of Kaitana coming up, which we're
Okay.
carrying on learning for another 2 weeks. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you for the next 2 weeks.
So I'll ask Aviva. I'll speak to Aviva about it.
Okay,
thank
or
you.
Ariel.
Thank you very much.
Aviva's
Or
out
Ariel.
of it. Ariel,
Okay.
it's us and Ariel. And he's happy that
Okay.
we're doing it. And Rav Reuven and Rav Stavsky are going to carry on. Aviva's
Okay,
going
so
to
we'll
take
see. I'll
a
speak to
very
him.
well-earned chofish.
Yes, this year I need it much more than any year.
Yeah. Well, I think teaching on Zoom is the hardest thing. I don't like it. I've tried it. It's really not easy.
Being a
Not
principal on Zoom is even worse.
Oh,
Yes. I can imagine.
You
okay.
can't go to the principal's office.
Yes, it wasn't much. It wasn't an office. I found myself running from room to room and asking my kids to please sit in their bedroom for a few minutes, and they wouldn't let me. So I found myself in the mirpeset sometimes, trying to find a quiet corner.
Right.
Well, the best one I heard about Zoom was some kid decided to call himself ... connecting. So he just disappeared and left that in the Zoom session without a picture, without anything.
Well, we had a lot of students like that. They just turned it on and then went to sleep.
Okay.
It's a very easy way.
Terrible.
All right.